As our parents age, besides failing health, it is one of the toughest discussions families will say that they have to have, and that is when to take the keys away from mom or dad. Barbara McVicker is the author of Stuck in the Middle and When Things Fall Apart, and she is looking today at the issues families face that when they have to have this conversation. Barbara, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
How often do families still need to have this conversation, or are more and more people realizing and recognizing when it is time?
I don't think anybody ever recognizes when it's time for them to give up the keys. You know, the adult children will say, Mom, I'm thinking maybe you shouldn't drive at night, or maybe you should only go to the grocery store, or something like that, in terms of it's time to start having that conversation. It is one of the hardest conversations any family can have.
Because ultimately, I mean, you have your parents' best interest in mind. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. You say use a third party. What does that mean?
I think in any caregiving situation, but particularly in talking about it's time to stop driving, a third party is excellent. A physician who says, you know, you really shouldn't be driving anymore, an eye doctor, a trusted attorney, even neighbors that say, you know, it's really time for your mom or dad to stop driving. So if you can get a third party involved. There are also things like AAA and Area on Aging that have driving situations and tests that the elderly can take.
Okay, well, that seems like it would be a really nice option. You say have other options available. Do some of those fall into that category?
To have other options available to how to get around town. If the keys are going to be taken away, then have something else in place that's going to take the place of that mobility, because that's really hard. It can very much isolate you. So Area on Aging, public transportation, the government many times, ride with them on public transportation and get them used to how to use it.
Emotional issues, limitations, and ride along. What is
Yes.
the most important point that you want to get out about any of these three?
I think that you need to start early, just limiting what that driving would be, and definitely ride along with mom and dad so you know yourself, are they capable of driving?
Okay, Barbara, thank you so much. We really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
Ann McVicker has a television special coming up called Stuck in the Middle, Caring for Mom and Dad, which airs in June on public broadcasting. Otherwise, you can learn more about the resources she has for people helping care for both their own kids and mom and dad. That's at NBC15.com under News Links.